I was driving with my son last week, and my son is a bit of a jock. And on Thursday nights, oftentimes he has a late baseball practice. That late baseball practice runs until about 9 o'clock at night. And it's some of the greatest bonding time we get to have. And my son, like me, we like hip-hop music. And on my phone, I believe most, if not all, of the downloaded music that he's downloaded, he doesn't like curse words. It's the edited version. But on my car, I have part of what I can do is I can stream other music. And so sometimes we get the unedited, uncensored version. And last week we were listening to a rap song we both like, and there was some N-bombs dropped. And I turned down the music and I said, listen, you can say a lot of things and explain them away. I was like, but promise me, you never say that word. It's like, I promise I would not. I was like, just trust me. It is an incredibly hurtful word. And no matter how much you hear it in a song, and we all get to a place where we repeat things we've heard in songs, that's like totally normal, right? You hear something and you just say it, which is the part of it. And like, look, dude, I grew up listening to NWA. I know what NWA stands for. That doesn't mean I can say what NWA stands for. I don't always do the right thing so that my son can emulate. But I know that in this particular case, it's the right thing to do is to have that conversation, which you don't really have to, you shouldn't have to have, but I felt the need to have it. No matter how much you like the lyrics to a song, if you hear an N-word in that song, you cannot say it. Other people around you might, especially if they're black and they're singing the words to a song. They may say it in a game. They may call each other it, whatever it is not your place. You do not say it. I know Mason Rudolph pretty well. I'm not going to say like we're best friends or we share text or whatever. He's from Rock Hill, South Carolina, which is just across the border from Charlotte. I only know Rock Hill because that's not only the home of Mason Rudolph, it's the home of Winthrop University. You guys remember when Greg Marshall was actually at Winthrop? They went to 7 straight tournaments. I covered a couple games there. So I actually know where it is on a map. It's in the South. And if we play into stereotypes, white kid from the South gets tackled by Myles Garrett. He's in an uncomfortable situation. Sure, why not? If you're just joining us, Myles Garrett, in his appeals hearing, through his attorney, claimed that Mason Rudolph uttered a racial epithet, and that's why he went crazy. Let me just state this for anyone who's not black. I mean, anyone who is black, for people who aren't black. I grew up in a world where I don't think racism truly existed, so it's hard for me to wrap my head around the idea that people would feel so negatively about another race, like just because of the color of your skin, you feel negatively about somebody, you would say that word. So, I'm also a human being, and I know I watch enough TV, I listen to radio, I see some of these videos. I do know racism exists and that people do utter ignorant, hateful words. And I don't know if Mason Rudolph said it. But dude, to accuse a guy in the NFL of saying that, you better be damn sure you heard it. And if not, what you have done is just as evil as that word. Because when you're a white guy and somebody accuses you of being a racist or dropping an N-bomb, there's nothing you can say. You can't say, hey, I got black friends. You're like, oh, because you're a black friend guy. No, maybe I have black friends because I actually have black friends. Been able to operate in a locker room since high school and 4 years of college at Oklahoma State and a couple years now in the NFL and haven't had any sort of racial incidents, but all you become is you're that phony guy who surrounds himself with black people, but you're secretly a racist. There's nothing I can say to prove that I'm not a racist. No, really, I'm not a racist. Sure you are. You dropped an N-bomb. Like, no, I didn't. Yes, you did. Myles Garrett said you did. This to me is a lot like the woman who makes up the rape accusations. I don't have it in me to believe that a man could do that to a woman. Equally so, though, I don't understand how a woman could make that up about a man. I don't have it in me to be a racist and to drop an N-bomb. I was raised in a way in which my dad, who grew up in New York, who used to play pickup ball in New York City and was, by his own accounts, the first white guy to play at the Rucker Park League. His nickname was the white boy from Long Island. I was told unequivocally, don't you ever say that word. Forget about anybody else kicking your ass. It's going to be me first in line. So I haven't. So I don't have it in me. I don't understand how anybody who's not black, frankly, I struggle with people who are black saying it, but I don't understand how anybody who's not black, a white guy, could say that. On the other hand, making that up as a defense to get you back on a football field, I would love to think that evil doesn't exist, but we've been proven otherwise time and again. I'm going to say this about Myles Garrett. You better be damn sure he said it. I don't think, I want to believe he did not. I want to believe, not just because I like the guy. I don't think Mason Rudolph, and people think I'm the bad guy because he's an Oklahoma State guy, that I just don't think he's a starting quarterback in the NFL. I don't. He looks the part. He sounds the part. Okay, there are times in which he delivers a throw. You're like, wow, that guy can throw it. But he just struggles when he's got people at his feet. Struggles in bad weather. Got smallish hands. Not terribly mobile back there, even for a young guy. And it's not that he's not a good athlete. He can run a 40 time, but it's just pocket mobility is not great. On the other hand, I just can't imagine that getting sacked with 8 seconds to go in a game that's already done, when you get pile driven into the ground, the way that Myles Garrett did, that's the moment that you drop an N-bomb that no one else apparently has heard. And so we're left with this, who do you believe? There are microphones everywhere. There are cameras everywhere. But more importantly, there are teammates everywhere. So did Mason Rudolph whisper it? Did he say it aloud? Or did it not exist? My basic feeling is, I don't think Myles Garrett's a very good guy. I think he's done dirty things all year, and this is worse than any sort of dirty hit. Because you can come back from a knee, you can come back from a shoulder. Alex Smith may come back from a ferociously broken leg. It's really hard to come back from somebody saying you dropped an N-bomb. It's almost impossible. What are you to do? He left Mason Rudolph in an impossible situation. His coach is black. His teammates are black. He operates in an atmosphere which, anybody else has been in the locker room, race generally doesn't matter. Does it give a stereotype? Sure, but racism is holding your race against you. And that's a racial remark. Maybe it's because I don't want to believe it. Maybe it's because no one's ever said, you know what, Mason Rudolph, kind of secretly a racist. Or maybe it's because I've had enough people tell me Myles Garrett's a bad dude. And if he made this up, and other people say he's made this up, I'm all for adding to, not just continuing with the suspension, which is what the NFL has done, by the way. The NFL today said, we're not changing that. We heard the appeal, and we're sticking with it. Which, by the way, means to this point, they do not believe him. So here we are. And the only thing I can tell you as a white male who's a dad is to never say it and to tell your kids not to say it. And if you're black, I feel for you. I understand that there are people that, for whatever reason, apparently don't like you because of the color of your skin. I'm not one of them. I'm a white guy who I haven't been liked for the color of my skin. I'm not going to apologize or do the whole, was it white privilege thing? I did not grow up in white privilege. oh, no, you're white, you're privileged. Like, no. To make it in college basketball, to make it in professional basketball, it's actually harder to do what I've done. The only chip I had in the game was my dad was a college coach. But by anybody's accounts, he's a failed college coach. So if you think that helped me overcome every racial stereotype, which generally keeps you away from what I was able to accomplish, good for you. But growing up in a world where, I'm not saying racism didn't exist, but it wasn't something that pervaded my existence ever, I have a tough time even understanding why anyone would say that word. But an equally tough time understanding why anyone would make up somebody saying that word. So I'm at a loss. Don't know what to believe, but to this point, the NFL does not believe Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett was asked repeatedly about swinging his helmet. This game occurred how long ago? A week ago? It was Thursday Night Football, wasn't it? Okay, it was Thursday Night Football. It was the Steelers. It was the Browns. So if we are to believe, and I understand there's another side to it, right? And I'll get to that in a second. If we are to believe that Mason Rudolph dropped an N-bomb and that's why he went crazy, I don't know, wasn't there plenty of moments where the camera was in front of him right after the football game when they said, like, dude, what happened to that last play? And he could have gone like, I went crazy, but the guy said the N-word. Right? Like, wouldn't that be part of the defense? No. I have an alibi, but I'm going to wait for that alibi until a week later when I'm in the commissioner's office? That's a strange way of positioning yourself. If it turns out to be true, he did himself no favors. Now, the other part to it is like, man, if this is the lengths you go to save your football career, like, I'd like to think that no one goes there. Like, you wouldn't go there. But why wait a week? Do you guys remember Casey Anthony? You guys remember Casey Anthony? Name ring a bell? Ramos, you remember Casey Anthony?
It rings a bell. I'm just trying to place it.
Casey Anthony is the woman in like Orlando whose 2-year-old or whatever went missing, but she didn't call it in for like a week or something like that. And then she was found to have the baby died and she buried it. And it was a terrible story. Terrible story. Casey Anthony. And the whole thing was like, I don't care what your defense is. If you don't know where your 2-year-old is for an hour, let alone a couple of days. Right? Kaylee Anthony was this beautiful little girl. And she had not seen her for 31 days. Like, I don't care what your defense is. You don't see your little girl for 31 days. You're like, hey, I haven't seen my daughter. How long? A while? How long? A month? Come on, dude. Like, that's kind of what this feels like. Granted, no one died, and it's not a precious little child. It's not the same. It's just the point of like, you mean to tell me if somebody called you an N-word, you would still want to kill them when you went into the locker room? You guys remember that? You guys remember he was like calm. He was like dialed back. It was almost like a different person. Like, yeah, sorry, lost my cool. Never in that was the, hey man, that dude called me the N-word. Right? Didn't hint at it. Didn't mention it. There was nothing. He'd even talk about, people say, like, Mason Rudolph kicked him in the nuts, right? Did you see that? He kicked him in the nuts. He was trying to tear off his helmet. Like, there was no mention of, listen, I understand it looks really bad, and I apologize for my actions, but let me give you just a little sense. He said something that set me off. None of that. So a week later, like, oh yeah, hey, by the way, he called me the N-word. I don't buy it. I don't think that's how people roll. I'm Jewish. Somebody drops a K word on me. we're going to come to blows. I'll swing a helmet, right? I will swing a helmet. And then when I'm in the locker room, I'm going to say, and you know what? Meet me outside. Let me tell you why. Let me let you understand what he said and why that means something to me. Anytime, anywhere that dude sees me, we're going to come to blows. Or, hey, even if it's matter of fact, I don't know why Pouncey's defending him. Wait till he hears what he called me. None of that. This is, by the way, and I know there's a website out there called, is it Black Sports Online, whatever? And Robert Littal is nothing more than a race baiter. He's nothing more than a race baiter. He can find something racial in anything. In anything. And look, Mason Rudolph may have voted Republican. You know what? Over 60 million people voted for the President of the United States. I am not one of them. But we've reached this dangerous territory where anyone who voted for the president, the sitting president of the United States, by some people's estimation, is a racist. Hey, just newsflash, there are black people that voted for Donald Trump. Again, I'm not one of them. But we reserve our rights as citizens to vote whoever we think should win an election. And I'm willing to believe that not every single human being that voted for the President of the United States this time or in a year is a racist. So yeah, that's the world in which we live in now. But if you want me to believe that Myles Garrett was called the N-word, then what you need to believe is he, at the end of a football game, somebody called him an N-word, he lost his cool, swung a helmet, goes in the locker room, cools off, and then doesn't mention it for a week. Even the reports out of Cleveland where he didn't say anything to teammates. If that's how you believe, it's a lot like, Casey Anthony, right? If your kid is missing for 31 days, you don't say like, hey, where's my beautiful little baby girl, Kaylee? And isn't that a normal human thing as a parent? I don't care how messed up you are in life. If it was drinking, if it was drugs, if it was work, if you're in and out of town. Like, dude, I don't go a night, let alone a couple times a day, and my kids are 13, and 10. Somebody drops an N-bomb at you, calls you that evil word. Evil word. You don't say nothing to nobody? You wait till a week later? Like, dude, that's your get out of jail free card. That's your alibi. Oh, hey, by the way, I was at Jimmy's house. Wait. What? Why don't you tell us that a week ago? Hi, I'm Doug Gottlieb from Fox Sports Radio, and you need to subscribe to the Fox Sports Radio YouTube channel where you can hear and see me. Why not? Plus, everybody else who's awesome here on Fox Sports Radio.